Hi Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Friday, January 3rd, 2020. Happy New Year. I wish for you all a very happy and healthy 2020. For some, it was a great 2019. For others, not so. I hope moving ahead, it's a wonderful year for everybody. That's all we can wish for our family, friends, for those who have no one to think of them either. So, welcome. I hope that you continue to tune in and see what I have to share with you all. For those that are joining me for the first time, welcome. And I hope you have a nice visit. The last video that I put up, I had a little bit of technical issues. And I just want to put it out there, and if anybody has any suggestions for me, I'd love to hear it. What happened was I was uploading my video onto YouTube, and it asked me if it was for children or not for children. And I know there's all those COPPA laws, so I say it's not for children because. And then it like said, okay, well, it won't upload until the next day at 12 a.m. in some foreign country time. And I'm like, I don't get this. So I did that. And then I saw that once it uploaded, I was the only one that could see it. Like on any tablet or computer that I had, I was able to view it on my phone. So I asked my husband, I said, can you check to see if he goes, I usually get a pop-up message when you upload a video. And he goes, I didn't get it. And then he checked and he wasn't there. So then I went back in and I says, okay, well, I put it in for children. And then it like popped up automatically right away. And I wasn't happy that it was listed as for children. So I mentioned it to my son, and he went on his computer and he changed it for me. But the thing is, I didn't learn how to do it. And I was just wondering, for other Flosstubers who happen to watch my channel, if when you upload a video, does it ask you now all the time if it's for children, or is it going to be just that one time that, and then it's set for life? Anyway, okay, that's my big question for the day, if anybody can help out. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of life updates in the beginning, because towards the end I might forget a lot. Like, I have a lot to share with you today, and I hope you hang in. What I want to say was, January 1st, we had relatives from Australia, a cousin from Australia visit, her daughter, who is also our cousin, and a friend of hers, and they're both 25 years old. And they came Christmas Day. Sal went into Manhattan to pick them up, and Michael and James and Amy and Rebecca and Caleb came for dinner, and we all had a wonderful dinner. And then the next day they were going into the city to spend the day in the city. But they did say they wanted to make a trip to Ulta. Now, anybody who I guess knows is that quite a bit of taxes and whatever, I don't know exactly what they're called, but when you shop in Australia, it's more money than if you shop in the States, because everything has to be shipped there. So even makeup. So they wanted to make a trip and a stop to Ulta. And I said to them, I said, well, the store closes at 9, so try to be back so that we can go there, because it's not far from my house at all. So Sal dropped them off at the train station at 9 a.m. They didn't get back until almost 8:30. So we ran over to Ulta. They had approximately 15-20 minutes to shop. They had to come around and say, we're closing. But it was fun to shop with women at 25 years old, because they see things differently, and they're all into this new makeup and trying stuff. And so they were making their purchases, and so they kind of enticed me to try something new myself. And it's a new lipstick. It's a lipstick pencil, and it's a dark box, so you can't probably, there you go, Kylie, who is Kylie Jenner. And if I would have walked in the store and saw this by myself, I probably would have walked right by it. But I decided to try it. So what do you think? Anyway, it's fun to see things through a younger person's eyes and just try things. Anyway, we had fun. They are on their way to Disney World. They're doing an amazing trip. They stopped in Chicago. They're going to Disney World now. They're going to make a few extra stops in Mexico and Cuba before heading home. They are both teachers, and this is their 6-week summer vacation. So for 5 of them, they've been traveling around. So it's going to be a really nice vacation for them. Just looking at my notes. Okay, so the rest of the video I'm going to share with you what WIPs I've worked on since my last video. And then I'm going to do, a total WIP parade of, I have 25 WIPs. And some of them I'm going to focus on in January to try to get finishes. So that's my plan. So I'm going to get right into it. So from what I've started, shared with you the last time, I have my notes standing up here. I just want to get them out of the way. This was the band sampler, born in 1604, and I did it on a band of fabric, and I folded the back up just to get an idea of what the actual size might be and how much of a white part do I want to show to put a hanger, and maybe a weight in this section to just keep it straight. I haven't decided how I'm going to actually finish it yet, but I'm so glad that the borders are done, and that's my finish. And the 2 colors I used on this is Cayenne and Emerald, and they were both Weeks Dye Works colors. So that was another finish that I had. I worked on this, but I did not finish it. It's the Prairie Schooler 2009 Santa. But he will be one of my first projects in January. So since I've had the holidays and relatives, I haven't stitched yet in January. So I'm going to start tonight though. So this is the Santa, and I should be able to finish him in 1 rotation. That is the plan. So that's going to be my first one in the pile. I did work on the Templar Prophecy, but I did not get to complete a page. So I started in the corner, and I'm on page 2 somewhere in here. And, I do enjoy working on this, but 2 days and off it goes, and that's how far I've gotten. So I have to finish in this section here, and that would be a page finish. Oh, and I think I have another butterfly in here, and then where, like on the white where there's outlining for motifs, on some of the black, like for instance this, where is it, right here, this little butterfly, it has 2 strands of white floss to accentuate it. So I haven't done that either yet. I haven't done any of the white that would be in. So that's how far I've gotten on the Templar Prophecy. So I will stitch on this every month, but only 2 days, so I will not be making tons of progress. Oh, I meant to pull up the other, the Noel ornament that I showed you. I think it was in the last video or the video before that. And somebody said it was a great idea about changing the houses to red. It wasn't my idea. I followed Priscilla from Stitching with the Housewives, Priscilla and Chelsea. She did hers in the red, and that's what made me fall in love with the pattern. So I did Luminary Lane, but I did not write the words. I wanted to keep it as small as the Noel. So that's my finish on it, and I did not fully finish it, but I'm calling it done. So I'll finish it into a little pillow with the same trim to match the Noel. And so that was what I worked on since we last were together. And then finally, I have Joan Elliott's Snowman stocking, which is this guy. And I did outlining because it has a lot of outlining, and some of his other sleeve and mitten. So I worked on this side of his coat and did the outlining. See if I could, there you go. The star in his pocket. Now, on his pocket itself, it said, "Let it snow." I don't know if I'm going to put that in. But, oh, there's time. So that's how far I've gotten on that one. Now, when I make my plans to stitch, like I try to look at it every month and plan it on a monthly basis. I take into consideration, because I do a 2-day rotation, what I'm stitching on a Tuesday and what I'm stitching on a Thursday. Tuesday I meet up at the library with my friends, and Thursdays we do a Google Hangout phone call with a bunch of my friends, all different stitchers from the retreat. And I want to be able to stitch and talk and pay attention, and so I have to like look at what I have to see what I'm going to stitch during those days. And then I also look at the Saturday, Sundays. Some of them fall Friday, Saturdays, and then Sunday, Monday, and then some of them fall Saturday, Sunday. And I think it's the Saturday, Sunday that I get the most stitching done, because there's football games, and when my husband sits to watch football games, I sit and stitch. So I have a little bit of extra time there. So now I'm going to go through all the WIPs and tell you which ones I'm going to be working on in January, and then further down the line I'll be working on the other ones. And what I did also was I wrote it out. I know a lot of you put it on a spreadsheet. So this is kind of like my spreadsheet. Those are the months at the top. These are my projects down the side. Technically I have 25, and then I check off what months I'm going to be working on them. And then at the end I have a DOC, date of completion. And then at the bottom, new starts. So for January, I'm hoping to have 2 new starts. For February, 1. For March, 1. No, none, as of now. And then April, 5. So I have to see how many I could knock off the top in order to put all these in, plus whatever might else cover. So I do some planning of how I stitch so that I can get the most out of my stitching. And this will be a new start for January. It's Heartstring Samplery, His Eyes on the Sparrow. And I was just reading a note that I put on this pattern because in my last video I mentioned that I watched Netflix while I stitch, and you know, people have asked me what shows I watch and everything, and I mentioned a bunch of them. And then I'm watching another series, and it's called Greenleaf. This is the one that I will be starting. It is a huge one. It's on the order to me of the Templar Prophecy, where it's going to take me a couple of years to finish it. But the fabric came in. I'll show it to you with my haul. But what I wanted to say about this new series that I'm watching on Netflix, it's called Greenleaf, and it's about a church family and what goes on behind the scenes and in their own lives and everything. And in season 3, Patti LaBelle is a guest visitor, and she sings, I don't know if it's a song or it's part of a psalm, but the words of His Eyes on the Sparrow, which I was like, wow, I put it together. So it was interesting to see something you're working on and how it came about, maybe, where Beth Twist, I believe, Heartstring Sampler, came up with that song. So the next one I will be starting sometime in January, don't know when, but is going to be the Heart and Hand Bird in the Hand Valentine Day pillow. And I've been looking at some patterns that have little alphabets like this. I was always, like when my son was growing up, I always taught them the alphabet from when they were very young. And my first son, my older son, learned the alphabet by 2 years old. He was able to repeat it and see letters and know what they were. So it doesn't hurt. I mean, if they're interested, they'll learn. If they're not ready, they won't. It's not something I'm going to push, but it's just another tool of learning the alphabet for little ones too. And I'm going to do it on a 28 count Legacy by Picture This Plus, and I bought that at 123 Stitch a while ago. And sometimes I buy it a small piece to see what it is before I invest in a larger piece. But I was thinking about it. I know a lot of you ask me what fabric I'm stitching on, and sometimes I don't know, because if the tag comes off, I can't tell. And so I go back and I check if I have the notes on it, and I try to figure out what I stitch it on, because I do write it someplace. So it's not always in the same place because I start things at different times. So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. What I wanted to say is I thought that what I might try to do is cut a piece of fabric, like maybe when I'm finished stitching, or if I know I have a large piece, cut a swatch of it and mark it, and then either put it in some kind of a sleeve photo book, or maybe floss away bags. Floss away bags, or my snack bags. Punch a hole and hang it from one of those thread holders, and this way I know if it's a mushroom Lugana or if it's a light taupe Lugana. Sometimes the colors to me are so similar that I have a hard time. But I think I'm going to do something like that. And then I could always match it up and figure out what I'm stitching on. This is a Halloween bird. I finished 2 birds and I started this. So I'm hoping to get this done in January. I don't have much to do. The word Halloween. I brought the candy cord down a little bit because I didn't have the charm. So I might look for something that I could put in here, maybe. And then I just have the bottom, Halloween, and the bottom border. And this was on an 18 count light ash gray. So the ghost is kind of hard to see, but it's visible in real life. The next one, okay, this will not be one that I can finish in one more rotation, but it is one of my WIPs, and I hope to get it done this year. And that's Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. And this is how far I've gotten on that. And I think I shared this with you in my last video, but this is one of my WIPs that I'm hoping to get done. I did complete last year's Stitch 9 challenge, and I haven't heard anything about it, but you know what? I'll just pick 10 projects, make a list, and check them off, and I'll be done. It's just for me. The next one that I worked on is Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio. This is just a WIP that I have. Will I work on it in January? I don't know. I might. Oh, that's the last corner that I've been to. Like I said, there's some that I really do want to try to finish, so I will be pushing those first. So I would say January. No, we put it on that side. Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. This is Stony Creek, Autumn in the Village. And I really haven't touched it in a while. And I only finished the bakery and started the tree. But I do want to get it done. Do I do it in January? Let's see, did I put in for January? No, February. Put the pattern back in. So I'm planning, as I'm going along with you right now, Plum Street, Turkey Bay. This is done on a 28 count Lugana. in ivory. And I have a whole nother half of it to work with. And that's where I am at. So this is definitely going to be done in January, and I'm hoping for a completion. So basically I just have this section in here, the water, there's a turkey there, and bring it across the water, and it'll be ready for next Thanksgiving. So this will be something that I will be working on. Next is Liberty Lane. That's my working copy, and here's my pattern. Liberty Lane by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I haven't picked this up in a while, but yep, I'm going to try and do this maybe in 2 rotations. So yes, I will be touching this in January, and this was done on a 28 count, I believe it was gingerbread. So I have one more bunting to do, and then the trees on the side, Liberty Lane on the bottom, and a bottom border. The bottom border is really hard to see maybe, but so yes, this will be a January project. This will also be a January project. This is Abby Rose Design, No Matter How Hard the Winter. Spring is sure to come. And I'm doing this one. And once I finish that, I will be passing it on, because the lovely Shirl McKinney from Tranquil Stitches passed it on to me, and I will be passing it on to someone else. So I have the flowers in the basket to complete. My initials in the corner. And I think that's it from what I can tell in this direction. So hopefully in January I'll be able to finish this, and I'll be able to have a giveaway with that. This is a yes, this is the yes pile. The next one is also going to be January. It's Brenda Gervais, Indigo Lane. I haven't touched it in a while, but I don't have much to do. So this is how far I've gotten. And you're saying, well, what has to be done? That's a good question. Some flowers at the end, down in this section here, on the other side of the tree. The fence is done. It's, let's see, oops, this way. This is done on a 28 count, and I think it was, I thought it was Lugana, but then I found a piece of paper that said Linda, and I don't know of a fabric named Linda, but it's a little bit heavier than a Lugana, but it's an even weave, so that's why I selected it, and I just thought it was a Lugana. So yes, this will be something that I will be working on in January. And now I'm getting all excited that because I haven't stitched in a couple of days, I'm like, what am I going to touch first? Okay, next one was Prairie Schooler, the 3 Pigs. And I have quite a bit to go yet, but I don't know if I'll get to started and do it in January, if it was in my original plans. But I do like stitching on this, and this might be a Tuesday project at some time, because there's a lot of fill-in, like for the roof. I could I have one more meetup at the library this coming Tuesday. Then after that, it's the following Tuesday is my husband's surgery. So is this a yes or a no? 3 Pigs, I think, is not a yes for January. And then the next Prairie Schooler, I love Prairie Schoolers, I really do, is the Village Sampler. And I finished the top houses, so I have the center section to work on. And I'm doing this on an 18 count Ada Country Mocha. And that's the top section that I have done. this will be like one of my Stitch 10 projects, along with the 3 pigs. So I guess after January, after I try to do that big push on getting them done, I will then look at the planning of the 10 that I want to get done, to stitch on them at least every month. The next one is the Frosted Pumpkin, Once Upon a Time, and it's the Grimm Fairy Tales on this. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't enjoy stitching a lot of color changes right away. Like this is a lot of color changes. Stitch a couple and then another color change. This is how far I've gotten. I haven't gotten far at all. But I'm going to try and push this to get it done. I know you know people say, well, if you don't enjoy it as much, don't stitch it. But I do want to finish it. I just don't enjoy it as much as blocks of color. I know a lot of people don't like blocks of color. Okay, the next one I'm working on is the Early American series. And I'm working on the Freedom block. So I should be able to do that in a 2-day rotation. Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, was wonderful to share her border pattern. I don't know if I will be doing the border pattern, because to me it's a lot. I know people love borders. I don't know if I will. I was thinking of just doing a top border and don't do the sides or the bottom, but I haven't decided. When I finish this, I'll see how I feel, if I want a border or not. But that will be my Stitch 10. That will be one of them. The next one is Autunno by Satsuma Street. And I'm hoping that this will be a finish this year. I only got 2 blocks done out of the 9. Yes, 9. 2 out of the 9. And this is done on a 28 count Lugana in ivory. So that one that's halfway done is a leaf, the center leaf. I also picked up the fabric for His Eyes on the Sparrow. When we get to haul, I'll share that with you. I'd like to finish. Let's see, where's the pattern? Here. Lizzie Kate's Pair of Pilgrims. I finished the Pilgrim Man, so which you've seen. Now I'm going to do the Pilgrim Woman, which I haven't started yet. But I consider this like one project, so this will be one of my hopefully finishes for this year's Thanksgiving. Next one, which I haven't touched in a while, is Puntini Puntini Welcome Summer. And again, I'd like to finish this one this year. So I'll show you together. Like, they're muted colors. And when I saw it on the finished project stitched at the store, it was on a grayish color. So this right here is the top where a birdhouse will sit, and it has the button for it, and I have the buttons. It came with the pattern, so that's where that will sit. So I would like to get this done this year. There's so many I want to get done to move on to new projects, because you know how it is, we all love new projects. But I like the idea of different projects every 2 days. So I don't think my WIP parade will ever be short, because I just like starting new things. The next one's Jack Frost's Farm, and I'm going to consider this a finish because it's going to, I think I'm going to end it after, like finish it up as just the farm section, and I'm going to do the different trees as little pillows. So I don't know if you can tell, but that is all filled in. So I'm hoping in, let's say, 6 rotations, so that could be 3 months, Jack Frost will be done, and then I'll be able to start the one of these balsam fir, Douglas, and pine, I think it was, that I'm going to do as pillows. Same fabric, 28 count mushroom Lugana. Alrighty. This one I'm embarrassed to show you. I stitched on it last April. It was a birthday start, and I haven't touched it since. It's Nora Corbett Geranium, and I think she's beautiful. And in the 2 days I made some awesome progress, but I haven't touched her since. And that's what I've done. Yeah, I definitely want to get back to this. And this is, let's see if I have the, so 28 count Lugana, but I don't have the color here. So it's like a light bluish. When I work on it, when I actually work on it, I will definitely look up the fabric and tell you. So yes, I have to get started on working on her again. I hope you're hanging in there. I hope you're interested. Buckleberry Sampler. I saw Deb from the Country Stitches working on this, and I fell in love with it because I just feel like it's so feminine. I mean, seeing her stitched piece on it, it was just beautiful. So, and I love it. It's just that I haven't stitched much on it. That's how far I've gotten. Yeah, I think it's really so pretty. And I do love a lot of the Rosewood Manor patterns. Some of them are really intense. Some of the masks, I think, are charted for silks, but I would always do them in DMC because there's too many of them to purchase for me. Anyway, The Haunted Mansion by the Tiny Modernist. Yes, the Tiny Modernist. This was the Mystery Sal. And when I was watching people do this, I said, you know, I saw it stitch up so quickly. It's not going that quickly for me. I'm stitching it on a 28 count Haunted that my needlework store did for me. If I can complete the house, like everything on one this year, I think I would be happy. Because it, you know, 2-day rotation and something large is hard to see progress. So anything more than that, I would be ecstatic. So that's why I have to just start working on these projects that I haven't worked on in a while. The next one is Jenny Bean and Friends by Shakespeare's Peddler. And that's the pattern. I'm doing the center words, but I'm not going to fill it in. And this is on a 28 count Lugana in antique white. Oh, no, cream. And that's how far I've gotten. I love it. I mean, the colors are just so beautiful. This house was tough. You had to pay attention to where the stones were, and the pattern was a little difficult to read, but I muddled through it. So yeah, I do love this pattern. I would love to see it done this year. That would be nice. Because I purchased this at the first New Jersey retreat, but I didn't start it that first year. But I purchased it at the first Jersey retreat. So this is going to be the third Jersey retreat that okay, the next one is the Little House Needleworks Hometown Holiday Season series, and I did the toy store, which I showed already. But the next one I think I'm going to do is the pet store or the sweet store, one of them. And I'd like to get a couple of these done throughout the year. I'm not going to finish it until I've gotten, like, let's say 5 done, and then try to finish them somewhat alike. My finishing is not as perfect as a lot of people's finishing, where they could make each one look exactly the same. No matter how hard I try, I don't think I can do that. The next one's Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio. I didn't get very far on this one. And I don't think I will finish it this year. This is on a 28 count Lugana in Haunted as well because the Tiny Modernist one was on Haunted. That's how far I've gotten. Alrighty, and that is all my WIPs. So I hope you enjoyed seeing them. I'll just go through a little bit of haul that I purchased, and then we'll meet together the middle of January, and I'll show you what progress I've made. Hopefully a few finishes. Okay, I did go to Hobby Lobby after Christmas, and everything at that point was 66% off. So I purchased some buttons. I purchased a few more of these, which I spoke about, to put a little stitch piece in each of these little baskets. I picked up a couple of those. I picked up a couple of these. They're wood. I thought I'd just put a magnet. I'd glue a magnet. I tested this. It attracts it, but it's not strong enough to hold anything. So I would glue a magnet and then do a magnet finish on something like this maybe. I see a lot of people, they were a little bit larger, get these boards for finishes. I picked up some snowflakes. I'm not a big happy stitcher of snowflakes, so I thought maybe putting a few of those where some snowflakes go might not be such a bad idea. Alrighty, I picked up some floss. This is Weeks Dye Work, and this is for I'm starting to kit up a project that I want to start in February, and that's Forever and Ever by Samplers Not Forgotten. No, Country Garden Samplers. Country Garden Samplers. And it's called Forever and Ever. And look how beautiful. And I will be stitching that on a 28 count Lugana in ice blue. So I had some of the floss. These were some that I needed, and I might need another couple, but it'll be enough to let me start it in February. That's a February start. Okay, this was the fabric that I picked up that Needleworkers, for His Eyes on the Sparrow, Needleworkers dyed this for me. It called for doubloon. And this is their version of doubloon. It's not quite as modeled as doubloon, I don't think, but I'm happy with it. It's a large piece. They call this Heritage, if anybody is interested, because they put a tag on it. Yeah, it takes up the whole screen and more. It was, I think, 37 by 31. Something to that effect, because it's on 28 count, but the pattern and it did call for a 28 count. I know a lot of people did it on 32 and larger, but the largest I've tried 32, but I feel more comfortable with 28, and I can actually almost see the holes without magnifiers, but I always use magnifiers because it makes it easier for me. I also purchased, let's see, this was an order from 123 Stitch, so let's show you what I got at Needleworkers first. And then the other thing I picked up at Needleworkers was red mittens. My friend Adele stitched these, and she brought them in at the library and showed them to me, and wow, I fell in love with them. And so I found it at Needleworkers, and they were having a sale. They're having a sale now, 25%, and for club members, 30%. So I picked that up, and I think that would make a lovely garland. So I have until next year to try that one out. And yep, the rest is all from 123 Stitch. So with the idea of the fabric sampler thing that I want to put together, these are some of them that I will be using. This was a new color that I selected from 123 Stitch. It's called Heartland. It's 16 count Ada, and it's a nice big piece, and I think I'm going to like it. It's a Picture This Plus fabric. I seem to lean towards the Picture This Plus. This is a 14 count, and it's called Flapper Ada. Let's see, there you go. Picture This Plus as well. Now, as I'm looking at the screen, it's showing blue, but it's really purple. Let's see if I hold it back further. Still shows blue, but to me, from what I can see, it shows blue, but it is purple. And I was thinking of doing the Halloween cat from Satsuma Street on this. So that was the idea of purchasing this one. The next one, I notice a lot of times, which I have trouble finding, is that there's like a yellowish tint to some of the smalls. So I was trying this one. It was called Mellow, 16 count Ada, Mellow. See if I put it next to, now this still shows blue. But it's a beigey with a little bit of yellow in it. I think it's showing more tan. I bought that. Then, what patterns did I buy? I bought the Autumn Alphabet by the Scarlet House. Besides loving the pattern, and then it dawned on me, is alphabets. Yay! The next is a Brenda Gervais, Merry Christmas, Tiny Work 1 over. Can't make that out at the top. Merry Christmas, ho ho ho, pillow. Prairie Schooler, Evergreen. I'm thinking of doing them as individual ornaments. Is there a house on there? There's a house on the back, but the pattern's on the back. The house pattern, ornament, I like that. So I'll be trying that. Birds of a Feather. Seeing a lot of people doing this one. Another alphabet. The Prairie Schooler. Okay, it's an alphabet, but I saw Priscilla and Chelsea working on this, and I loved what they did with it, and I'm thinking I have some thoughts about what I might do with this. So I'll give it a shot, and then I'll share it with you when I start it. Then I saw this Christine Stitch All the Things. Her finish on this was amazing, amazing. And this is Christmas Sentiments by Stony Creek, and I fell in love with it, and I actually think this would be a lovely present for somebody. So I'm also thinking of possibly doing it in Threadworks. It's silks, I think, for the red. I think it was the reds that were silks. I'm thinking of doing As It's Charted, is my guess that I will be doing. So I think that's it. That's all my haul, all my whips. Oh, I did pick up some other threads that I needed for His Eyes on the Sparrow. It's funny because when I picked up some anchor for Templar Prophecy, I know I started kitting up the floss for His Eyes on the Sparrow, and I was looking for it because I had purchased some more and I wanted to keep them together, and I couldn't find them. And And I'm like, but I know I have them. I know, I remember, I thought I put it in a box. You know, I have little boxes that, for floss that have a lot, not to just put it in the project bag itself. I put them in little boxes, like gift boxes that might have had something in them. And I'm just using them to store my floss. And for instance, when you know what, hold on a second. I figured I'd show it to you. It's probably easier. Now, somebody laughed the last time when I showed this because it's a boggle box. But as I get other boxes, then I will use other boxes. But for now, this works. And this one is the Joan Elliott Christmas stocking. And then I put all my floss in it, and I do it numerically because it's all DMC. And then this one was autumnal, and I just put it in another box. And if it's DMC, the DMC numbers will maybe be to the back, and then the weeks or whatever classic color alphabetically in the front. So I get these boxes, and so I just couldn't find the one where I put his eyes on the sparrow, and I'm looking and looking and looking, and then I was on the other side by the sewing machine looking this way, and I see these stack of boxes that I had purchased, and finally I said, could it be that I have it in there? Sure enough, they're in here. I can only remember half the things that I want to tell you, share with you, and remember. Anyway, I hope you had a fun time with me today. I know it's a long one. I don't usually go this long. My next one will be the progress that I've made on my absolutely have to work on them this month, get them done projects. So until next time, happy stitches, happy 2020. I hope it's an amazing one for everyone, and I wish you all good things. So until next time, bye.